Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trailblazers Radio, where I am one of your hosts, Coco Fenton. I have Miss LXG in the corner
Hey
and the
everybody.
wonderful Frederick Beatty down here on the bottom. Tonight is a topic that most people don't touch. And again, I'm gonna give the disclaimer. It might trigger some stuff. So if you are sensitive to certain things, certain types of topics, this may not be the show for you. Okay, so I'm giving you the disclaimer up front. All right. So other than that, um, I hope that everybody has had a good week. I hope your weekend is about to start out well. It's rainy here, so that tells you how the weekend gonna be over here on this side of town.
It's cold over here.
But other than that, um, yeah, we're gonna let LHG and Fred give an intro, and then we're gonna get right to it, yo.
Ladies first.
Well, the ladies first. The ladies first. I used to be my jam. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm LHG. Welcome to the show tonight. Tonight is going to be a little bit heavy. I have my good water prepared, and I put on my good hair and a couple extra bobby pins on tonight,
Oh,
so I can be coherent and get through this. But it's necessary. One thing, if you've been following Trailblazers for any amount of time, you know that we have the necessary conversations, no matter how uncomfortable they may be. They're needed. So that's why we're here tonight. For those of you also who didn't get a chance to watch the show that Coco talked about her testimony on, I want to remind you to go watch that. We still need your help with the GoFundMe, and I put it in the comments. So please go to either one of our pages and watch last Thursday's. I think that was last Thursday. Uh, yes. So you can really get a good understanding of what our sister has been facing and championing through. So yeah, we need you to support her, even if you can't monetarily share the GoFundMe to your friends, your family, your colleagues, organizations that you know of. We need this to go as far out as it can go. So thank you for joining tonight. Share the video, like, subscribe. We are on the road to 100 subscribers. I'd love for it to happen by Monday or Sunday night.
that would be
So
great.
it's a real easy thing to do. You just click on the little bell. You get notifications. Yes, Quint, she is a warrior. Yes. So be in the know when it comes to Trailblazers Radio. Know when things are coming your way, and you won't miss any of our podcasts. And as our CEO said, whichever one really sits with you really well in your spirit, you want to know when it's coming on so you can be in the room. Some
Right.
good topics coming through the pipeline. And we got some really good stuff coming up this year. So that's my spiel. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you for all that you do for us. And that's it for me.
Well, hey everybody, I'm Freddie Beatty. I'm the CEO of Trailblazers Radio. And just like these two young ladies said, we want to thank you guys for first of all just tuning in and just being here with us. Um, yeah, this is gonna be a heavy subject, y'all. So want you guys to strap in and like Coco said earlier, if you are easily triggered, we most definitely understand. And you know, you can most definitely tip out. You can most definitely tip out quietly if you would tip out quietly. There is no judgment here. This is a no judgment zone right here. The only other announcement that I'm gonna throw out here at you guys, and before we all jump in and get started, um, around and so 9:30 p.m. tonight, I'm also gonna be on the WBNN network. Gentleman there by the name of Oladele Ngozi. invited me to join his network as an intern. So I took that opportunity. So just to let you guys know, and I put this in the post earlier, Trailblazers Radio is not going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We're not going no place. This is an opportunity for me to learn from people who are tenured in this business, and also take that knowledge and disseminate that knowledge to these young ladies here, so that we can all grow, not only as presenters and broadcasters, but also grow as a family. We're already a family, but I think when you pass on knowledge to each other, that brings up that we become a much stronger family. So yeah, for anybody, because a couple of people has asked was in my inbox asking me this today, and I'm answering that those inbox inquiries now. No, Trailblazers Radio isn't going anywhere. So you guys are saying you so please don't yeah, I won't say don't, but yeah, we're not going nowhere, y'all. So hey, with that being said, let's get into this, y'all. Let's get into this. Um, I guess I'll start by just kind of throwing a disclaimer out here. If you are easily triggered, I strongly suggest that you don't. I strongly suggest that you don't watch or listen to this podcast to this particular episode. I strongly suggest that. But I also want to say this to the opposite of that. If you feel that you're strong enough to go through to hang with us through this episode, by all means do so. If you get triggered and you decide to tip out, that's fine. Don't judge. We're no judgment zone here. But the main purpose of this is to, number one, bring an awareness to this. Number two, for those who are going through this, we want to put you guys on. We want to try as best as we can for you to try to get you guys to recognize what that is, and also help pave a road or a path to some form of healing. Um, so with that being said, let's get into it.
All right. Well, let's start out with what our topic is about. So, for those of you that don't know, tonight's topic is about incest. The reason why we came to this topic is we had a young lady that reached out to us on our Q&A night, and this has been her life. Um, her father has slept with her and all of her sisters, and has even fathered children with some of them. And she reached out and asked after the Q&A show was over, would we do a show about it to bring awareness to um, the situation. Well, I told her yes, we would, and here we are. So, for those of you that don't know what incest is, let me explain. So, incest is sexual relations between people classed as being too closely related to marry each other. The crime of having sexual intercourse with a parent, child, sibling, or even a grandchild. That's what incest is. So, pretty much you having um, pretty much a person that is sleeping, having any type of sexual relations, or even married to a family member. This is considered incest. Now, granted, there are some situations where the people did not know they were related to each other. Okay. And that's where you have children that have been fathered or mothered by the same person. One child was raised in the home and another one was put in foster care or given away at birth, and did not know that this person they end up meeting somewhere down the line was a sibling.
Right.
Okay. And so in that situation, you feel bad for them because now they have grown to love each other. Some of them have even married each other and had children before they found out that they were actually related.
Wow.
Okay. And so in that sense, it kind of sucks because now you got to break up a home. um, and then they got to figure out how to deal with each other.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Being the fact that they didn't know, that's the reason why it's very crucial that when you are have a family and you don't know part of your family, I suggest you find out.
Absolutely.
Because growing up, I am one of my father's children, but they didn't know me until I turned like 15, 16 years old. You see what I'm saying? And so all of this time, I'm riding around, chilling in the neighborhood with people. People become attracted to each other, and then you find out at a family reunion y'all related to each
Right.
other. And bless the Lord that nothing ever took place. You know what I mean? Because then you look at each other like,
Wow.
wow. You know what I mean? Like I literally went to a family reunion, and the person that I was dealing with at the time was like, "What you doing here?" They thought I had came to see them. I
Wow.
said, I was invited to the fan. I was invited to down here because I'm related to some of the people here. And so when I said that, he was like, "Hold on, wait a minute. You related to who?" And
Mhm.
when I said who my daddy was, he dropped his whole plate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ribs too?
He dropped the whole. I promise you, he dropped the whole
Oh,
plate.
don't let them ribs hit the ground, bro.
When he dropped the whole plate, he was like, "Yo," he was like, "Stop playing." I was like, "No." He was like, "No." He was like, "We need to go find this out, like for real." Like he was devastated. You know what I mean? And so I was like, he was like, "Come with me," and he grabbed me by the hand and took me to his mama. And his mama said, "Hey, how you doing?" He was like, "Mama, this the girl that I was telling you about." He was like, "But I got a problem." And so
Yeah.
when he was like, "I got a problem," she was like, "Oh, she was like, wait a minute, you look like somebody I know." When she said I look like somebody she knew,
Lord.
he was like, "Mama, don't say that. I need this not to be true right now." And he was like, "Mama, she said her daddy is Rick." And when she was like, "Rick who?" She was like, "That explains it." She was like, "Oh, you look just like his mama."
Wow.
And when she said that, I was like, "Okay, so who is my dad to y'all?" And he looked at me. I mean, when I tell you he was all the way devastated, he was devastated. He said, "Yo, we first cousins. Our fathers are brothers."
Woo.
And I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Your daddy is my uncle."
Wow.
And he hadn't seen my daddy yet. He hadn't even, because my daddy was still parking the truck. So he hadn't even seen my daddy walk up. Yeah, if he would have saw me walk up with him, he would have known. You know what I mean? And he was like,
Mm.
wow. He was like, I really ain't got no words. I think that like blew his whole day. Cause I
I'm
I
sure.
don't I don't even remember him going back to get another plate. Actually, to be honest, I don't even remember him staying to the family reunion after that. And
Wow.
so like he ended up like contacting me like later on though. And he was like, "It won't nothing against you." He was like, I just couldn't deal. Like he was like, because you know what I'm saying? He was like, we have been chilling with each other for like 8 months straight. And lo and behold, I'm so glad it just never went no further.
I know, right?
And so, but I mean, like, now for real, we the best of cousins though, like for real. You know what I'm saying? We like besties. You know what I mean? But I mean, if we would have found out some other way, that just would have been it. I just destroyed. I probably would have just fell out. But um,
Question for you. Does it matter if it's a small town, medium-sized town, big town? I mean, what's the likelihood of that?
no, because I mean, who knows? You know what I'm saying?
You
When you
just
come
never know.
right, you never know. And see, that's the thing. There's still parts of my father's family that I don't know. And so for me, it's very important for me to get to know them. You know what I'm saying? And so now with my daddy being gone, it's kind of hard to do that. So but yeah, yeah. I got family all over. I even got family in other countries. You know what I'm saying? What happens if I go to this country? You related to me and I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I got family all over this my father's side of the family that I do not know. You know what I'm saying? But them, if they look at me, they always like, you look like such and such. And when they say my grandmother's name or my aunt's name or even my father, because I look like them together, they
So
be like,
we need to invent something that when you get too close to someone at your family, a sound go off and say, "We are family."
right.
I mean, just some kind of buzzer or siren or, I mean,
Right.
technology. Come on now, some kind of invention that give you some kind of indication that hands off.
Right. And see, the thing of it is, in my part of the research that I did about incest, they say that, you know, if you are very close in relation, you have what's called a genetic sexual attraction for each other.
Wow,
And so if you don't know, you know what I'm saying, the attraction is there because y'all are alike.
Right.
wow,
And so, like it's really crazy and you'll be surprised, you know. So it's like some things some people just can't help because it's just a part of who they are. But some of them it's because you didn't know. And
right.
then some of it is just wrong. And we're gonna talk about all of it tonight. We're gonna hit all different parts. But you know what I'm saying, just letting people know that it's a real thing.
It is
It's a real thing. And a lot of times more than not, right here lately, it's been people not knowing that they were related to who they
right,
got with.
right.
And so when it comes down to that, in certain states, it's wrong because they get a lot of time behind it. And so, like, and then what you supposed to do when you find out you didn't know. Now both of y'all finna pull time for something you didn't even know about.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And you done made kids behind it. You
Ooh.
know, like I like there's this one that I'm gonna talk about. They ended up getting together. He was adopted. He was adopted, and she was put in foster care. They ended up meeting at a party, and things started just went from there. They got together, stayed together, got married, had 7 children with each other. When the seventh child came out, she got sick. The mother got sick. And so they went to go find like a donor match for her to fix her. And the husband was 100%
And that
donor
ain't
match,
never supposed to be unless
right, which is not
you
supposed to
are
be.
related.
And
Unless they
so
were
when
married.
they came back and told her, they was like, "We found a match, and it happened to be your husband. He's
My
a hundred
goodness
percent
gracious.
donor match for you." And
Right.
she excited, but she not understanding. She got excited, but she didn't understand. He said, "No, you don't understand what I'm saying to you.
Right.
He didn't
Your
know to
husband,
tell
That's
you.
supposed
your
to
husband
happen.
is a 100% donor match for you, which is not supposed to be
No.
possible." And when they did it, and they did a DNA test, come back that they were siblings. They were brother and sister.
Lord have
And
mercy.
Ooh,
so he still ended up, he ended up giving her what she needed. But right after she got well, they took them to court and locked them up.
ooh,
Even though they
Hey,
had no clue, they had to prove that they was never raised around each other. It was so much behind their situation. And when
devastating.
they got out, the state that they was in allowed them to stay living together, but told them they could no longer sleep together. Like, how you supposed to monitor that? But anyway, anywho,
Oh,
um,
Jesus
you
Christ.
know what I'm saying? So it told them they could live together for the sake of their children. But they can no longer sleep together. And if they were found to sleep together, that they had been sleeping together, that they would go back to jail and finish the rest of their prison term. And
How you go
so
about to that?
yeah, like it's crazy because in their situation they had no clue.
wow.
He was adopted, she was put in foster care all her life, so they really had no clue. And
Wow.
so what ended up happening was is the girl, the wife, um the real family, the family that she came from, had a family reunion and she went to it. When she went to it, she invited him. And it just went from there. They kept saying that he looked like somebody, but nobody never actually said anything. And it was just like he looked like such and such, he looked like such and such, but nobody could put their finger on it and say, oh, well, this is who he was, because the mother gave him up at birth. She didn't even,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? And that's all they could really say is he looked like such and such, but they left it alone. And then, like I said, they got married, she got sick, and he turned out to be a
And
brother.
they say we all look alike. Some people say just black people, period, look alike. I mean, I can understand why nobody really dug deeper per se.
I think a lot of it is because they feel like we have commingled a lot.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Especially back like in the slavery days.
Yes.
They feel like we commingled a lot, so we look like somebody that slept with this one or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's a lot, because a lot of people, like, we had a conversation about how people got their last names.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us black people got our last names because of the slave owners that used to own you.
Right.
Your last name really ain't
Your
what you
own
think it is.
birth last name.
Right. It
Right.
ain't your birth last name,
Right.
because you got the last name of the slave master that you was under.
Wow.
So, it's a lot, and we're gonna do a show about that too, but that's later on. But
I
it's,
want to
it's
go back a little bit.
yeah,
So, in the beginning of the show, we gave this disclaimer, and I totally understand because this is very triggering. But the other part of the situation is if you find yourself triggered by this, why? And
yeah,
have you faced the fact that maybe this show may be for you? This show could be an opportunity for you to say, I'm not alone. Let me read this quote to you. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. James Baldwin.
that's true.
So, yes, being triggered is tough, especially if you have anxiety, and I have that. But it's like, do you ignore it? It's not gonna go away.
Right.
You never know what life circumstance will bring you. For example, I went to watch the movie Precious with my mom and was completely triggered because of what has happened in my life. I couldn't breathe. My chest was on a movie, a movie. And I'm in there like on fire. And I didn't even realize when I went to do my little research, I didn't realize in some states, even a step parent with a child is incest. There's not blood, but
Yep.
step parents, foster parents, adoptive parents,
Yep.
caregivers,
Because you took on the role of a parent.
you took on that guardianship role of that child, and it is in you're saying to that child without words even, I'm going to care for you
Right.
by some kind of relationship. When my mother married her second husband, it went without saying, you took on a daughter,
Right.
not someone to be fondling, a daughter. So no bloodline, no relation by blood, but by relationship, you have no right to me.
Right.
And a person who sits back and allows the abuse to go on is just as to blame as the abuser.
Yep.
So for
You
those
are
of
no
you
you
who
are
have
no better.
parents, if your child is coming to you saying something is happening to me, you owe it to them to listen.
Yeah.
You owe it to them. I mean, and I'm sitting here like, I never saw myself as a incest victim per se because he wasn't my blood father.
Mm-hmm.
But that relationship was there. When he married my mom,
Right.
it's hands off.
Right.
Wow.
He was considered the father figure at that time.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it didn't matter if it was blood or not. But
Yes.
that's all people would have saw.
Right.
The fact that he was your mother's husband and you was the child and he did what he did. That's
Right.
it. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so it's just like the woman that I just read a story about her in the article. A lady in Maryland. She owns a daycare. some of her children at the daycare came to her and told multiple children now came to
Mm.
her from the daycare and told her that her husband was dominant
Ooh.
and molesting them. So
Jeez.
what she did was she act like everything was cool. She took her husband out of town and took him to a hotel. When she got him in that hotel, she shot him. She didn't
Woo.
kill him, but she shot him. And somebody said that they heard a shot go off, so they called the cops. When the cops got there, she barricaded the door. And she said, they said, did you just shoot somebody? She said, yes, I did. He a child molester, and I'm gonna finish the job. So they bust the hotel door down and they got her out and got him out. And now he's facing the molestation and rape charges. But
Wow.
she also got 9 years behind shooting him.
Wow.
So, I understand where she was coming from, but she went about it the wrong way.
Right.
Yep.
And so now it has cost her something. She already been locked up for the last 2, 3 years. So
Ooh.
they gave her credit for time served, and she thought
Okay.
that was gonna be it, but they added on more years.
Ooh.
So, um, yeah, because they said that she could have handled it a different way. And so, like I said, it don't matter, how it come about. It's the fact that it happened.
Right.
And so in that situation, that's one of the things. But now he about to have to deal with what he has done.
Ooh.
So it just goes back to say, and like I said, we were gonna talk about all parts of incest tonight. The parts where people didn't know, the parts where people knew and just did it, and it's just all sorts of wrong. And then just what the different states do, because not all states see it as something illegal. There's
Really?
only like 2 states that see it as not illegal, but the rest of the states do. The highest state that gives you the most time is New York.
Okay.
If you are caught and put on trial and you go down for incest in the state of New York,
Hmm.
it is a automatic 15-year term.
As it should be.
But other states are not so much. So other states are a lot more lenient than that. So, but it just depends. And so when you got to talk about it, I don't know what you guys were able to research, but believe it or not, it goes all the way back to the biblical days.
It does.
When
It
you go
does.
back and you read in Leviticus um talks about how it bars certain types of sexual relationships between certain types of family members, but not all. So it still told you that it allows family members to do what they did to each other. But if it was certain types of family members, they couldn't have relations with each other. They couldn't get married. And this is back in Leviticus. So, do your own, take your own time to read it, but read the whole book of Leviticus and you'll see what I'm talking about. So it's a lot, because biblical days you had them marrying first cousins to try to keep royal lines, like Pharaoh's family. They
Hmm.
married in house. That was not outside. All
Right.
of Pharaoh's people were all in house. That was incest all the way down.
Hmm.
So it was nobody outside. No, they didn't find no Hebrew woman to marry. No, Pharaoh married his own daughters and sisters.
And if
And
you are a Game of Thrones fan,
yeah,
baby,
yeah,
very incestuous.
yes. The kingship stuff, all of that. They
Woo-wee.
did not marry outside. They kept it in the bloodline because they said that's what kept the bloodline pure. So they
Wow.
did not go outside of it. A lot of people didn't know, like I was telling LHG the other day, Queen Elizabeth that just passed away, her husband is her second cousin.
Wow.
So
See,
her, the now widow dude is her second cousin. But the whole bloodline is like that. Harry is the only one that stepped outside of the bloodline when he married Meghan Markle.
And that's why he gets so much flack,
And
huh?
that's why he got so much slack. Not only did he step out the bloodline, but he also stepped out the bloodline that was half with somebody that was half black. So now you looking at like, oh, she got a white person skin tone, but that ain't who she is. When you meet her family, you realize that her mother is black her father is white.
Right.
And so, it's a big situation behind all of that. That's the reason why he being condemned so much. Because
Yeah.
now you have tainted the bloodline.
Right. And they are serious about that bloodline.
Yes. Now you have tainted the
Royalty.
bloodline.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know
And
what I
so
thought about y'all? And this is gonna be so random. If you can remember one of the Tyler Perry movies where Medea's brother,
Fred, you got something? Hold on, Elliot. You got something playing in the background, Fred? Fred,
Yo,
mute.
I hear something.
oh sorry.
Tyler
Okay.
Perry, one of his movies,
My
Medea's
bad.
brother. I can't think of the name, and I think it might have been the family reunion movie. And he is seen making all kind of sexual gestures at a young lady,
Hmm.
and they had to remind him that's your niece.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
didn't stop.
Yeah.
He didn't stop. So
Yeah.
it's like we kind of in some ways look at this in jest. Oh, he just being a horny old man or
Yeah.
whatever. Well, that's not cool. That's not cool. And when I was growing up, it was nothing for a high schooler to have a boyfriend that was in his 30s.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, it happened quite a bit. It started out getting a ride home from the bus stop and turned into a whole relationship.
Yeah.
Not uncommon. Disgusting when you look at it, but not
Yeah.
uncommon.
I'm coming. Yeah. I mean, let's be real.
Wow.
Go ahead, Fred.
No, I was just saying, woo. Oh,
Yeah.
You got to be real about it. It happens. Like I can say, like for me, I can be transparent. Like I was in middle school,
Mm-hmm.
and the dude that I was with when I was in middle school was Jesus. I want to say about 35.
Yeah, me too. I think mine was
And
older than that.
but guess what I said? I was in middle school, not high school.
I know what you said.
You know what
I
I'm
know
saying?
exactly
And
what you said.
so he was like 35. But I can honestly say he never did anything to me. He took care of my mom, didn't have to buy me no school clothes. My granddaddy, because at this time I was no longer in my mama's house. You see what
Okay.
I'm saying? They had took me out of my mama's house and I was living with my grandfather at the time. So my grandfather didn't have to buy me no school clothes. He didn't have to worry about picking me up because the school that I went to was about 30 miles away from where I live. So he didn't have to worry about none of that. When it was time for me to come home, I came home. He brought me home. When I had something after school, he asked me, well, what you got going on this week? I told him what I had going on. He made sure I was good. And that's what it was. And so as I got older, of course, I kept the friendship relationship with
Okay.
him, but I didn't have the dating relationship with him anymore. And we remained friends up until he passed away
Wow.
last year. And then, it was just really, really funny because his mother was like, he talked about you all the time. I
Wow.
I told him that you should have been my daughter-in-law and like all this other stuff. So when I talked to her, it's just like she's like, I just remember him talking about you all the time. That's it. And everybody knew who you was because that's how much he talked about. And
Wow.
so, it was just like, okay, but it was never nothing like that.
Hmm.
He was just that cool dude.
Wow. Well, let's unpack this for a minute because here's the thing that I feel very strongly about when a child is subjected to incest. I believe, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not any type of medical professional. I'm just speaking from my own experience,
Hmm.
ladies and gentlemen. What it did for me, I believe, it distorted my view of sexuality because a parent is never supposed to cross that line.
Hmm.
In a child's mind, you start to wonder, is this what is supposed to happen? Is this love? Is this what I'm supposed to subject myself to out of respect to this man? And
Hmm.
it kind of subjects you, not every child, but it can subject you to running towards another older person because that's what you know when it comes to sexual activity. And I feel that that was true for me. Why am I in middle school, 8th grade, and this man got to be a good 40? And yes, it did become sexual. It was an obsession for him. He
Right.
was obsessed with the 14-year-old kid. And when he found my diary and read that I like the little boy, a 14-year-old is supposed to like a little boy, he wanted to kill me.
Wow.
I'm like, dude, I'm 14. You want me to be faithful to you? I just learned how to spell faithful last night. I mean, but it's that kind of incestuous activity, I believe, can open up other things for young people, other levels of confusion.
It can.
I struggled with my own sexuality for a while. I just didn't understand what was right, what was wrong, especially when you don't have a parent to come back and say, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Let me talk to you about this. This is not supposed to happen. I'm sorry. He had no right. If
Right.
no parent or parent figure comes in your life and draws that line, then you go into your, elementary school, middle school, thinking, I guess it's cool to just kick it with whoever, whatever
Right.
age, unless someone takes that child and says, listen, we got to talk to you about some things and put some things into perspective. That was not normal.
Right.
And going forward, I need you to make sure you tell me right away. It took me years to tell because I was blamed. It's your fault. What was you wearing? What did you do? You lying. You mad because I ain't your father. Seriously? You gonna not believe the child? Where they do that at?
Right.
But that's the thing that they do. That's the thing that happens. It's always they're gonna blame the child for quote unquote being fast.
And
And
sometimes that's not the case.
we know that.
Sometimes they blame the child because they feel like the person that did it paid more attention to the child than he did to them.
Exactly.
Yes.
You see what
Exactly.
I'm saying? And sometimes
Yes.
it's not it ain't got nothing to do with being fast. It's the fact that just like it was in the movie Precious, he
Jealous.
had an issue because he paid more attention to the daughter than he did
Yes.
to her.
Yep.
And I even think about that perspective. I finally get a man, and now you are the one that can fulfill him, and I can't.
Right.
My womanhood is shattered. Really?
Right.
Wow.
And believe it or not, it goes both ways. It's not just with the female. You
Yep.
Absolutely.
got you got mothers that sleep with their sons.
Hmm.
Prime example for the ones of y'all that don't know, the whole moral behind the Bates Motel, that's a real story. This woman slept with her son most of his life.
Wow.
And then when he got tired of her, when he wanted to move on and have a real relationship because he had fell in love with somebody, and the
Wow.
mother said she was gonna do something to the girl, he killed her.
Wow.
Yep.
Because that was the only way he was gonna be able to move on. So he killed her and buried her behind the hotel.
Woo.
Yep.
I've never seen that, and I never
You
knew
gotta
what it
watch
was
it.
about.
They got the movie. They got the movie called The Bates Motel, and then they got the series. So if
Wow.
you watch both of them, you can see like exact. Yeah, she was a piece of work, honey.
Yep. She
Wow.
really
And
was.
nobody could get close to her son without her having something to say.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, and you just knew that the way she was with him won't normal. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I know people that coddle their children, but baby, not like that.
That's beyond coddling.
Yeah, like she was doing too much, and then you got a chance to see why, because she had been sleeping with him, and
Wow.
she had been doing it most of his life. When he hit puberty, she was the one that slept with him.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And I think really to be honest with you, because and I want to kind of piggyback on
Ooh,
what you said
praise the
earlier,
Lord.
LHG, about what you're because of what you would because of that experience, you became your sexuality was kind of opened up a little bit.
Yes.
And I think when we talk a little bit about that, we talk about a lot of, you know, we know that I won't even say we know. I think I don't want to say I think. I strongly believe that with sexual promiscuity comes with is kind of the byproduct of that.
It can be.
Now you're a lot more open and freer about who you decide you want to deal with on a sexually, or better yet, or more yet, you have multiple partners,
Yep.
and it's not necessarily fulfilling a need. It's just like, this is something because you've already had that experience. Now it's
Pandora's
like,
box is opened.
yeah,
Yeah,
now,
and it's
Like you said, Pandora's box been open, so and then that also leads
Yeah.
to, like I said, not only sexual promiscuity, but also leads to making horrible choices in individuals that we want to be with,
yeah,
individuals that we choose to be with. So there's also that accountability byproduct too.
Mm-hmm.
And then even with that, now we talk about behavioral issues. Now we talk about depression. Uh, and that sometimes alcoholism, and then maybe drug abuse, things of that nature, or the worst case scenario, this person's been touched so many times by a family member that now they recruit other family members into that same thing. Or
yeah,
even worse yet, now they're like whole their whole perspective on relationships is like very so skewed. And I don't want to. My thing is not. I'm not. My thing is, what we're doing. We're not putting the onus on the victim,
Right.
because the victim doesn't have a choice in the matter. The victim wasn't given a yes or no scenario. It was something that was done forcefully and under duress. So please believe what I'm saying. I'm not saying that to kind of shame any victim of incest. I'm just pointing out some of the things that could happen as a result of that. Sexual promiscuity is something that is quite common.
Yeah.
So I'm not outing anybody, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, because again, the accountability falls upon the person who committed the act. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And
right, Coin.
I don't know if y'all gonna hit on this or not, but the onus falls on the parents.
Yeah,
It has to. The parents, if you look, anybody that's under the sound of my voice right now, if you know that your child is being touched by a family member,
anybody.
anybody, any family member, whoever,
Mm-hmm.
your child or any relative that you know is being touched by another family member, if you have knowledge of this, it is your duty to call that what it is and pull that person under accountability, but also have that person seek help. And help can come in the form of seeing a health professional, or even the best case scenario is having them brought up under criminal charges,
Mm-hmm.
because in several states that is not allowed. And I know some states are lax about it, but there's other states that are much more severe when it comes to that. It's as a person, as a family member. Doesn't matter if you're a parent or not. If you know someone's being touched, or one of your family members is being touched or inappropriately, it is your duty to report that. It is your duty to say something about that.
Right.
Consequences for you be damned. Because at the end of the day, that's a person that you're preserving and you're protecting. I mean, and I don't know if y'all were gonna hit on that just yet, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
I'm
Yeah,
glad you did.
it was coming. Go
And
ahead.
in light of the fact that, let's take a step back. If you don't know for sure, but you recognize certain changes in the behavior of a child, um, their grades are dropping, they're depressed, they're very withdrawn, rebellious, illegal behavior, kind of mouthy. I was extremely mouthy as a child, but that was my way of, I guess, lashing out without saying, hey. something's happening to me. You have to pay attention to children. They may not walk up to you and say, someone's touching me, because that person could have said, if you tell, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your mama. I'm going to kill your dad. I'm going to kill whoever. So you have to pay attention to the child's behavior. And since you brought up promiscuity, we see that person as she just being a hoe. He
Right.
or she.
They never know. They never understand what
You
leads to
don't
it.
know what has
Yeah.
happened to them that led them to that type of behavior, and you just call them, oh, Pookie, he just a hoe. Bonquisha, she just a hoe.
Yeah.
No, that's not always the case. It may seem like that from the outside looking in, but you don't know what has happened to that person in their lifetime. They could have been raped by whoever, whenever, however, or passed from person to person, because that has happened. One of the stories that I saw on Facebook, where a little girl, a little boy was passed from pastor to pastor,
Mm-hmm.
preacher to preacher, deacon to deacon. Like, can you pass the ketchup? And they pass it a person.
Yeah. I know a young lady that happened to.
I mean, come on. If you can't be safe in the house of God,
You're not
what
safe
in
nowhere.
the world? And
I,
what
Not,
kind
I
of viewpoint of
not safe
church
nowhere.
I
did
know
they
a
grow
young
up
lady. I know a young lady. Her father pretty much said the reason why she was made is so he could do that.
at? Oh my God.
So not only did he do it to her, but he passed her around to both the men in the church
Yep.
and some of the women. So
That's so
he
disgusting.
just pimped her out. Like
That's exactly
um
what it is.
yeah, he pimped her out. Like I know somebody that did that. And
Exactly.
so like it's bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when it comes down to like with me, when it happened to me, I became angry.
Me
That's when
too.
I started fighting a lot. And so
Yeah.
everybody was like, what happened to the sweet cocoa that I know? Like what's going on with you? And I couldn't tell them because I knew they wouldn't understand.
Right.
And then when I went and told the right person, that's when something happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, people would just thought I was acting out to act out. No.
Yeah. See?
And people didn't realize that when a certain person walked in my house,
See?
that's when I would cut up for real.
They gotta pay
Yep.
attention.
You know what I'm saying? And
Uh-huh.
nobody will pay attention to that. And so it's just like at the end of the day, when they
Wow.
finally heard me, when they heard me tell the story, they was like, that's what was going on back then. Yeah. But instead of you knowing, you labeled me.
See?
Yep.
And
And
that's
so
wrong.
you didn't even know what was going on. You
So
know what I
wrong.
mean? And so at the end of the day, it's very important to pay attention to the signs and changes of a child
Yep.
because it'll tell you a whole lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you really pay attention. And so, you know, since Fred brought it up, I was gonna wait until like closer to the end, but the young lady that contacted us in the Q&A, like I said, her father messed with her and all six of her sisters. And he got babies by three of them, multiple children by
Mhm.
three of them. And in my mind, and we all said it the night of the Q&A show, there is no way that this mother couldn't have known.
No
But
way.
but
He had to have knowledge.
at the same time, you have to question if did he rape the mother to make all of them?
Yep.
Because if
Point.
that's what happened, then she's afraid of him.
Right.
Or
And
put the
she's
mother
not
in
going to do anything to make him pretty much like harm her.
prison.
And she going to give him what he wants
Right.
because
Out
that's
of
what she
fear.
used to, right? And
Out
she
of
used to giving him what he want out of fear. And so in this turn, now what he wants is her children,
Oh,
the
Jesus.
children they made together. You see what I'm saying? And that's just dead wrong. But
Dead
I have
wrong.
to say that after the show, the young lady that reached out to us, her and the youngest sister did go turn him in.
Oh, good.
So he has
Praise
been turned
God.
in. He has been turned in, and they were willing to tell whatever they needed to tell. And we just gotta wait and see how it's gonna play out.
Woo wee.
Good, good,
You
Right.
gotta understand that he's not only gonna get he's gonna get, the
good.
charge for incest, but he's gonna get 6 charges for rape and charges for having babies with them, making babies by them. So, all of that is gonna have to come into play when everything finally comes out and hits the fan all the way. So, I hope that he never, I don't think that he went outside of his children,
Okay.
because of the fact that it seems like he was too focused on them.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because of him making babies with 3 of them and him sleeping with all 6, I don't think he ever went outside of that. So not only you got 8, you got pretty much he had 7 different women that any given
Yes.
time he could go rape one, and
Yes.
and that was what it was gonna be, including
Yes.
their mama. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So yeah,
She.
I don't think that he ever went outside of them, because what he wanted he had at home.
I'm glad they told, and at least that minimizes additional victims
Yeah,
because he's being charged. And for those who are even going through something like this, please tell.
yeah,
It may break up a family, but it will stop some of this suffering. This is not
But
normal, people. It's not. It's
that's it.
barbaric. It's hideous.
yeah.
Haters.
Please tell.
And
And
honestly,
it will make you ask questions as to, is this something he saw coming up?
Could be.
You know what I'm
yep,
saying? And he just decided to do the same thing. It makes you wonder, because for you to do it and for him to do it the way he did it, this ain't no one sided, no one sided thing.
of course not.
And so it
Not in
makes
the
you
order.
wonder. It makes you wonder that. And the funny thing of it is, more funny than not, is that he literally had all girls by her.
Wow.
Not one boy at all. But the boys that he made is by his daughters.
Wow.
Yep,
So he was never able to have a son with her, but he had him through the daughters. So it's like now his daughters got to realize that they children by him are not only his grandkids, but they also their siblings.
Twisted. A
It's
straight
it's
up
a, it's, a,
movie.
it's such a jacked up situation,
yep,
Jacked
yep.
right?
up.
And I know it's going to scar them kids for the rest of their life.
Them kids are gonna be beyond scarred.
You know what I'm saying? Because them little boys, I don't know whether they called him grandpa or daddy.
That confusion.
And
That's
That
twist.
confusion.
it's and
That's dysfunction.
I know it's gonna be that got to be just like, wow. Like, how do you explain? And then I did not ask her what the ages of the kids were. And so it's just a messed up situation all the way around.
Yep,
Like, I can't even fathom the thought, like, in my brain, that you got to be the counselor to sit across the table from all these people
exactly.
to try to counsel this family. Like,
Yep,
hats off to whoever is about to get this therapy session.
yep.
And let's
And
throw out this statistic. Many cases of incest could include older children
Hmm.
abusing younger children. Some
Right.
estimates show that teen boys are responsible for half of all sexual abuse of children. So where it came from this family, and now here come these boys,
Yep.
you pray that they don't
That they don't do the
perpetuate
same thing.
behavior.
Right.
yep,
My
yep.
Lord.
Right.
And
And then too, you got the other situation that came, what I want to say, the week after talking to her. Somebody sent me an article about this 11-year-old girl being rushed to the hospital because she was having a baby.
Oh,
But the baby she had was by her 19-year-old brother.
oh,
And so they arrested the brother, and then they arrested both of the parents, because they was like, there is no way y'all did not know that he was sleeping with this girl. The father admitted that he found out about it, but he did nothing.
see,
And so it makes you wonder that because you found out about it and you didn't do nothing, were you doing it too?
complicit,
You know what
complicity.
I'm saying? And so, like, I when coming out of cosmetology by a guy
My
that
goodness, Simone.
she made it like
Wow.
right.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry to hear that,
I'm
Simone.
sorry, sweetheart.
My God. You
No,
just never
nobody
know.
deserves that.
Nobody.
And
And that's
it's just
Woo,
like you
Jesus.
don't do that. You know what I'm saying? And see that's what actually ruins um mother daughter relationships. You
that's
know what I'm
it.
And
saying?
and and has and
Right.
has.
And that's because it
Yeah.
ruined mine. It ruined mine. So
Yeah,
at the end of the day, that's what ruins the relationship.
it
But
does.
At the end of the day, when you go to tell the person that you figure would be like, what? Who touched my
Right.
baby? Like, you know what I'm saying? Would be like,
Yes.
what? Who touched my baby?
Yes.
But then you tell them and they be like, I mean, let's excuse the French I'm about to use, y'all. Let's not go with these wonderful Negroes that go, oh, you deserved it.
See?
Because then see now,
No,
now I done
no.
put you in a whole category that you ain't my mama, and I'm gonna look at you like you a chick on the street.
automatic
You know what I'm saying?
stigmatization.
Like I what?
Automatic.
Like no, 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 no. And then that whole what happens in the family, stay in the family. No,
Ooh, no.
You know what?
I so
Ooh,
hate.
No.
I'm
I
glad you
hate.
went there with that.
Hate is
Houston,
a
we
very
have
strong
found
word.
the entire problem.
I'm
Okay.
glad you went there with that.
Woo.
I'm so glad you went there
I
with that.
hate that term because
I hate
that hate
it.
is a very strong word. You catch
I
what I'm
hate it.
saying? What happens in the family stays in the family, but that's the problem because
That's the problem.
I'm sure that I'm not the only one he did it to.
Come on.
Man, and I'm so glad you went there with that. Can we please just eliminate that whole damn statement?
Right.
Because that's, first of all, I'm calling cap on that because there's no way you if we well what happened in the family stays in the family. I don't care. I don't care.
I
I don't
didn't
care. I
care.
don't care if it happened. What happens? If you wrong, you wrong.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
if you out here some little old ass uncle decide you want to roll touch on your 15-year-old niece or niece, no, you wrong, brother.
Wow.
Then the
Wow,
funny thing,
Simone.
what makes it so bad
Jesus.
is that
Mm,
the
mm,
people,
mm.
family members that know about it are so damn complicit, and they know what's going on.
You'd
They
be
know what's going on.
surprised.
They probably witnessed it going on, and they don't say a damn word.
And the
But
key word is access.
yeah,
The people
you'll
that
Exactly.
be
have
surprised.
access to your
You'll
children,
it,
mothers,
you'll be surprised.
Fathers
the
too.
wrong
Fathers
people
too.
got access. It's always, almost always somebody that has
That
access
already has
to that
access.
child that they may trust, that knows how to get close to them. Why is the organ player in our house, mama? And
Right.
you not? Parents, why have y'all left me in the house alone with said organ player? And
And
fast
right,
forward to today, why are you dating said organ player,
Organ player.
right.
mama? Out of
And,
all
and
the Negroes you could have dated,
and
why you?
I have no issues with men, but I do not feel like you should have a male babysitter with your daughter.
No,
I have a
no,
whole issue with that. Well,
no.
he good with kids. Well, I don't care if he good with Foo Foo Fifi and Dodo. You won't be babysitting my daughter.
You open
Let-
up
let- Let's
doors. You
let's
open up
let's
doors for that.
let's go ahead and put this out there. This woman was dating this dude. They found out that he was forcing the woman to sleep. He's forcing the
Jesus.
woman to sleep with him, but her daughter would come home and she would be at work. And so, the daughter didn't think nothing of it because, hey, that's my mama boyfriend. He live here. Da 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 da. Well, lo and behold, he got mad at the mama one day, went in and raped her daughter, murdered her, and put her body in the freezer. Okay, they just found this baby body in the freezer yesterday.
Dear
Okay,
God.
so you tell me what you told the mama
When? Lord have
when the
mercy.
little girl came up missing. And
Hmm.
so like all of that where you got people around your babies and you think they cool, it's not cool.
It's not cool.
Nope.
That
It's not
access
cool.
is what is the problem. And unfortunately, when it's somebody close and they threaten them, they probably feel like, well, I can't tell because I know what he capable of. I can't tell because he could literally take me out.
Right.
And to Simone, to your point, and to your point too, Coco, I can't describe the level of devastation when the one person on the planet that's supposed to always protect you doesn't believe you.
Right.
It is more devastating than the act of
Yep.
what that man did. I mentioned that at the mental health forum last Sunday. That
Right.
man didn't have an investment in my life the way my mom does.
Right.
But for you to say I don't believe you and maintain that for decades, are you serious?
Horrible.
Yep.
Simone, I feel
Horrible.
your pain, sis. I feel your pain.
Right.
And then many of us have had to look at our mothers and always had that wonder, do you really love me? Because I don't know if you really understand the concept of love, honey.
Baby, mine told me she didn't.
Wow.
Craziness. Just
Mine
Wow.
told me,
crazy.
mine told me she didn't. My mama actually looked me in my face on one day and said, if I could have had the opportunity to flush you down the toilet, I would have.
Ooh, that
And
is so
then
devastating.
I was constantly being compared to my father,
Wow.
of,
I
of whom
remember that clearly.
I did not know at the age that she was telling me all this.
It
So
starts
Wow.
right there.
I
It
was
starts
constantly
right
being
there.
compared to a father figure that I didn't even know.
Wow. So can that be a part of the angst that a mother may feel toward a child? You remind me of the man that hurt me.
Yeah,
I look just like my father.
yeah. I'm across the street with
My
my mama and
father
my
is me with a
daddy.
ponytail. I mean, it's I but that's not fair to us as their children. It's
No,
so unfair, y'all.
no.
And let me go back to Quint said in her comment, she saw a story about a 19-year-old molesting a 9-month-old. Now I have to wonder,
Ooh,
I have to wonder if something happened to that young lady or that 19-year-old for
well,
there to even be an attraction to an infant.
you
That's
gotta
beyond
think about
morbid
the
and
grown
nasty.
man. There's a grown man that did the same thing to a 6 month old, and the 6 month old died.
That is a demonic spirit.
You gotta be kidding me,
Because you
right?
got to think about it. You a grown man, so you grown man size putting something inside a 6 month old baby.
And you got to
That
be
you,
some kind of twisted demon
right?
to even have some kind of gratification. You killed
Yeah,
that baby.
yeah,
Sick.
You can't even get nobody your own age.
and they died.
Oh
Yep,
my God.
yep.
It is an uncomfortable topic, real bravado network.
Bravado,
It
yeah,
is very uncomfortable.
yeah, man. Like you got to understand, like this, but this is real.
It's so
Very real.
This is
real.
real. It ain't just the incest part. Rape, molestation, all of it's real,
All of it.
and it's pretty much all of that wrapped up into one.
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
when you forcing yourself on your daughter, you just raped her.
Yep.
Right.
When you
You
trying to
sexually
groom
Yes.
assaulted
her
her.
from a young age, you
Yes.
molesting her.
Yes.
So it's all of that wrapped up in one.
All of that. All of that. And interestingly, in what I read, is that most of the perpetrators are men
Yep,
Yep.
and are white.
yep.
But that doesn't mean it doesn't happen in the black community. Difference is we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, you're
Now
right. It does. We don't talk about it.
there's only one black guy besides this one that I just told y'all about with the daughters that they just turning me in. But there's only one black guy that's actually been arrested, put on public display about it, and he was in Florida. He
Okay.
had pretty much had ancestral relationship with his daughter. He got her pregnant and everything. Her mind was so warped and twisted that she didn't even realize that, um, you know, my daddy ain't supposed to love. You
The
supposed to love me, but not
deception
like
and
this.
the manipulation is
Yeah,
what makes them feel this must be normal. That's the difference. It's
yeah,
happening in our community, but
yeah,
it's so subtle and deceptive
yeah.
that there's a manipulation, a brainwashing of sorts,
Right.
where a child doesn't feel it's wrong. This is just my family.
Yeah, but see, how he groomed her is most of her life he was locked up. And
Wow.
so when she would come and visit him, it started while he was still behind bars. And then when he started to send her letters the letters wouldn't be like a father-daughter letters. He sending her whole love letters.
Wow.
And then when he got out, he
Jeez.
made do on what he told her.
Wow.
And so, she had his baby and they locked him up for it because not only, we got proof because she done had a baby by you.
Yep.
They locked him up for it and he got a total of 23 years.
Wow.
But it's an interesting statistic that you put out there, LSG, for real, really honestly speaking, really. And it speaks to the disconnection of us because we're more apt to say something or well see something or see something and sweep it up under the rug because well if I didn't see it, it didn't happen. No, bro, it happened. It happened up under your nose. But we say, nah, we don't want you to bring out all those secrets in our family because those are family secrets that's supposed to quote unquote die with the person that did it. Nah.
You ain't gonna see no Hulu specials and no Netflix specials
No,
about a black family with incest. You may
no,
not see that too often.
no.
At
We ain't
all.
trying to go out like that.
And
At
have it.
all.
And
Okay.
have it.
At all.
Ain't
We ain't
have
trying
it.
to
But
be embarrassed.
they make it about them though.
But when you
Yes.
look at
Thank you, Simone.
we're so conditioned to sweep shit up under the rug, excuse my French. We're
It's
so
true.
conditioned to do that. Is that that's normal. That's our norm. That's normal for us.
And you wonder why mental illness is so prevalent.
That's
Because
right.
this is happening every day. It's normalized. Don't say nothing. Don't do
Mhm.
nothing. And you got to be around that person. You having
Yep.
kids with that person. That's your
Yep.
dad. That warps your mind. That's enough to take you out right there.
Yep.
Or make you want to take
It's
the person
too
that hurt you
much.
out.
Because I have to commend all of these ladies. You catch what I'm saying?
Mhm.
All of them could easily committed suicide,
Yep.
Right.
but didn't.
But God,
You know what I'm saying? But I also know that the mind ain't right.
it's not. And we got to be careful with those people. And we have to be watchful and make sure they are under the care of a
Yep.
professional because we don't want them to, number one, be an abuser, or
Right.
number two, take their own life because it's just too much.
Right.
Yep.
The
And there's
mind
a lot.
it got to leave you with just like why?
Right.
Like and when you want to call out for your mama and can't
You can't.
Exactly.
because if you call she ain't coming.
Right.
Yep. Or if
Like
you do when
that,
she do come,
just that thought alone is like no.
And in
or if
the
she do
case of the
come,
young man and the little girl, mama and daddy was taking turns.
Yeah.
man, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can't call neither one of my parents.
Yep.
And then you going to preach across town and taking me to a church service, and you passing me like the offering bucket. What in the world?
Man,
It's
yeah.
a special place in hell for that.
And then on top of that, like what you said, Coco, it speaks to both of y'all's points that you want to call your mother and she don't even come or even if she does mother or father they do come they don't got nothing for you,
No,
Nothing.
not an
nothing
answer,
at
not an
all.
explanation, nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing at all. And like I said, in my situation, my grandfather was more hurt than my mama was.
Wow.
My grandfather flat out told the dude, said, if you ever put your hands back on my granddaughter ever again, you see
Ooh.
this wonderful double barrel shotgun, you gonna eat it.
Both
He
families.
never came back around me after that. And then come to find out, like after my grandfather confronted him on his doorstep, his daughters ended up coming to my grandfather and telling my grandfather he had done it to them.
See?
See,
And so, you know what I'm saying? Like it so much came out after that, but still, everybody was still trying to keep it on the hush. No, you nasty and you old.
and then on top of
You
that,
nasty and you old. And something need to be done to you. Period.
and then
Yes.
on top of that, we don't want to deal with the fallout from it.
Right.
Well, it's gonna look you drop a nuclear bomb, it's gonna be fallout, right?
It's
So
gonna be
you
a
just
fallout regardless.
But I say you deal. I say, man, you deal with may as well deal with the fallout now than wait to deal with it later. I mean, and I said, this is what I say. Either way it goes, it's gonna be hurtful. It's gonna be painful. It's gonna be explosive,
But let me say
regardless.
this: the conversation that I had when all I wanted was a conversation.
Right.
All I wanted, at first, I wanted an apology, but I
Mm-hmm.
had to get over that part. Now I'm like, can we just talk? I really want to know what happened to you
Right.
for you to allow this to happen to me. I want to understand, who are you?
You're not my
That
mom.
was my question. I know your name. I know I'm your daughter, but who in the hell are you?
I have
Right.
no idea who you are.
I don't know who you are. And then the consensus was, I will never have that conversation with you.
Right, Simone.
I will
Right.
never have that conversation. So that means I have to get my healing on my own. I
Right.
Exactly.
can't wait for no one to tell me, well, because I was molested, because I don't even know that to be true. I don't
Exactly.
know that to be true. So we have to get our healing
You just
however
have
we
to.
can.
Right. You
You
just
may
have to.
never get an apology, everybody. You may never get even an acknowledgement. Forget apology. You may never get an acknowledgement that you told the truth. Am I right, Simone?
I feel like this. If you don't
I
give,
go ahead, Free.
if it comes to that point, I wouldn't even want to look for an explanation. I wouldn't even care about an explanation at this
I
point.
don't anymore, brother. But I wanted, let me be honest. And I mentioned this on the forgiveness show. I wanted her to say something that will make it make sense.
Right.
Not that it would be justifiable, but I
Just make
wanted
it
to
make
feel
sense.
sorry for her and say, oh, mama, this
Right.
happened to you. So you turned the blind eye on me. I just didn't want to believe a mother, but a person that has the biological parts to have a child don't
Right.
mean she a mother.
Right.
That's true. That's true.
A
Right.
person can birth a kid, but doesn't mean they have the makings of a
Of
Or a
a mother.
nurturer,
mother. Yeah.
That's right.
a person who is a loving parent. And
Yep.
when my mother's mother died, I looked in that casket and said, we lost our mother.
Yep.
Mom, that was our mama in that casket. My
Oh,
grandmother made sure I had nurture and love.
right.
Hurt people is cliche, but they really do
Hurt
hurt
people.
people.
Yeah, they
And
do.
hurt people produce people.
Yeah.
Hurt
Produce hurt people.
people produce people.
Hurt people. Yeah.
There you go.
My
It's a
God.
it's a trickle down effect. It is going. It'll happen. It'll keep happening. It'll keep happening throughout the generations until somebody says enough's enough.
But you know what? I have to say, in my situation, that's not how it went. Before my mama closed her eyes, she made it right with me,
Praise God.
and because that was one of the things I prayed about.
Hmm.
I said, "This I can't do. This is the woman that birthed me out. I understand everything that I came into this world into, and I may not understand the whole logic behind of what happened between her and my father, but that really ain't my business. But what I do, my major concern was I got to look you in your face and see me. You
Wow.
got to look me in my face and see you." And
Wow.
so when she started getting sick, she sat me down
Ooh.
and she said, "The reason why I was the way I was with you is because every time I saw you, I saw me." And
Ooh.
then she was just like, I couldn't give you something that your grandmother didn't give to me. My grandmother was not the nurturing type, baby. Okay. And she
Right.
couldn't give me something that she didn't have the capacity to give.
Right.
And so, when I come out and I'm the total opposite. Like I'm just the sore thumb that stick out.
Hmm.
I'm the it is just like I see so much of me in you and who I want it to be.
Wow.
Um, and I know that's what you're gonna do. You're not gonna let nobody make you something that you don't want to be.
Wow.
That's it.
And so I was always one of them that I spoke my mind. I wasn't like her. My mama was the one, she wouldn't say nothing. until it festered too long, and then she would say something. I want the fester too long type. If you piss me off, you knew about it in the next 5 minutes.
That's
And
Ooh-wee.
it.
if you offended me, you knew about it before you got out of my eyesight. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yep.
And so I was like the total opposite, but I got that from my daddy though.
Wow.
And so, when I asked my daddy, like, why you didn't come around if you knew about me,
Mm-hmm.
he was like, your grandmother kept me away.
Wow.
And so to find out that my mama's mama is the reason why I didn't have my daddy, if she wouldn't have already been in the ground, it probably would have been an issue between me and her. You see what I'm saying? And so
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
like you find stuff out as time goes along, and when you find it out, you just be like, it all come together now. I get it. I
It
get it.
makes sense.
I can't be mad at you for what you did not have the capacity to give me. And I
Wow.
can't be mad at you either if somebody you say kept you away from me. But what I do realize is I don't care if it was my grandmother or not. I was your child and you should have fought for me.
That's
Yes.
it.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
it.
That's what I said to him. So I told him how I felt because he asked me and I told him. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like I told you, me and my father have squared up with each other before.
Wow.
And after that day, he had the utmost respect for me. He was like, any 2 times you'll box me and won't even kill? Yeah. So it was nothing like after all of that, I got the respect from my mama. I got the respect from my daddy, but I respected both of them equally after that. But before that, there was no relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
You know
glad
what
it
I'm
turned
saying?
out the way it did because there are a lot
Right.
because in most cases it don't turn out the way that you describe it. That you
Right.
Right.
just that you describe it because there's so much anger and hatred and all kind of other emotions that pop up. I mean, if folks don't speak to each other for years
Right.
and mothers and fathers will carry that to their grave and they got their kids running around here
The same
emulating the
thing.
same behaviors,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and then they project that onto their kids, and then here we go. Now we got something that trickles downhill, and now you done instigate. Now you continue with the same cycle that was supposed to have been broken a long time ago with you, and you knew you were supposed to be the one that broke the cycle, but you refused to do it, and you allow the cycle to continue.
Right. But see, that's the thing. Think about it. In most family homes, especially now, modern times, when you go in somebody's house, you see pictures of the family together, right?
Yep,
Yes.
Right.
yep.
My mother never took a photo with me.
Never.
Never.
Sheesh.
Every photo that I have of me, I'm alone. She is not in the photo with me. You see
Wow.
what I'm saying? And
That's
so, like, when you walk into this is what you expect to see.
Yes.
You don't see that. And so you got to understand that a person that um I came growing up, I came from a place of always feeling rejected because I
Mm-hmm.
was rejected by her.
Mm-hmm.
I was rejected from the womb. You see what I'm saying? And
Yes.
then just grew up in it even more. I had to get to the point of, well, okay, it ain't about you. My grandfather flat out told me, he was like, look, you don't need no dude to validate you. You are beautiful. Don't let no dude gotta tell you that because he wants something from you.
exactly.
No, I want you to know who you are. You catch what I'm saying? And it took my grandfather telling me that. A man told me that. I
Wow.
didn't get that from a woman.
Wow.
And so if it was not for my grandfather, yo, I'm telling you, I probably wouldn't be half of the woman that I am. My grandfather deposited a whole lot of nuggets into me.
Praise
And
God.
so I commend men that
Yes.
stand up and you are real fathers.
Yes. Thank you,
That's
brothers.
what I'm saying. I
Thank
commend
you,
y'all
brothers.
because I know how hard it is when women won't allow you to be the man that you want to be.
Yeah.
And so I commend y'all because I know it's hard. You see what I'm saying? But I,
Mm-hmm.
I I feel it and I get it. Don't you can't, and I'll say it 1,000 times. You can't expect something from somebody that they just can't give you.
That's
And it
it.
goes back to what Fred said about people who you see as sexually promiscuous or a man that has multiple women or whatever. You got to wonder they might not have had that person, that grandfather, that mother,
Right.
that somebody to say, hold on a minute. It's a few life lessons that you're gonna need to make sure you
Right.
don't get got by the wrong people. When you
Right.
when you don't instill those things in your children, and that's why I will forever believe in the village concept. You may not be a biological parent, people out there, but if you have community kids,
Yes.
nieces, nephews, the youth department at your local church, pour into them as
Yes.
best you can. Because please know that just because you may not have had the chance to have your own child for whatever reason, you can still be a nurturer. You can
That's
still
it.
be a mother figure, a father figure to so many. That is what I believe they want us to do as Christians, especially, or just as people, period. Take the
Right.
religion part out of it. Just as people, pour into your community. There's so many kids out here that
That
have
don't know nobody.
they in foster care or they've been bounced from foster home to foster home. They trying to survive the streets. They're trying to keep these people from molesting them and raping them over and over. You don't know why people do what they do.
That's it.
It could be a survival mechanism, a coping mechanism. It's the wrong one, but they don't know any other. We gotta educate our kids
Yep.
on how to even cope with what they're dealing with. First of all, you got to
Mhm.
talk to them. First of
Right.
all, put the dining room table back in your house,
Right.
put the phones down,
And sit at the table.
and sit at the table and see how their day was, what you learned in school, how you doing. And instead of having them in their room building bombs and whatever else they in their room doing, and you don't know until is that little Bobby at the school
Right.
shooting? You don't
Yep.
want to be reactive. That's the
Yeah.
consequence of some mental disturbances.
Right.
You want to catch it right there when you notice you normally get A's. You got all F's. Time to talk. Get to
Yep.
the table. Let me see what's going on.
Yep.
When the teacher is calling you and saying, yeah, little Bobby slapped little Susie and he normally like her. Something ain't right.
Yep.
Don't
Yeah.
ignore the even subtle changes in your children. Talk. These phones and tablets and laptops have eradicated communication.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
You don't even know each other in these homes no more. Where are
Don't know
kids
how.
at?
Yep.
Don't know how to
Stop
hold a
saying go
conversation.
outside. Back in my day, it was go outside. Go outside.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh hell. Oh
Yep.
hell yeah.
Where
Go
you know where
outside.
kids at?
Go
Now they
outside, and you
outside.
better be back in here before it get
Them
dark.
We like,
street
come
lights
on.
better not catch you.
That's it.
If
If
my
my people
granny
ain't
had
get
to
out of my house.
open doing holler Tanya Michelle,
Yep.
baby, who got the body?
That's it. That's it.
She going down.
That's it.
Yep.
Who got the body, boo?
But you know what? That's what's missing now. The village ain't here no more.
The village. Where, man? We gotta do better, y'all. That's why we doing this.
The village
As
don't
triggering
exist.
as this may feel, this was worth it.
Yep.
I don't want another kid to have to face some of this stuff we researching.
Nope.
It hurts. No, it ain't my kid, but it hurts.
Yeah. It ain't
Yeah.
good.
It hurts.
It ain't good.
We got to get out in these communities and educate each other, talk about this stuff, no matter how uncomfortable. Tell when something ain't right with these kids. Tell.
Honey, you let one of my nieces and nephews come to me and say,
Jesus.
"Who did what?" Okay,
What?
let's
What happened?
we're gonna go right now. Hold that thought.
Pull it up.
Those.
Pull it right
It
up.
ain't even gonna be no if ands buts about it. These are my nieces and nephews now. Okay, I don't play
Pull it.
that. I
Pull it
treat
up.
them just like they mine.
Yes, Quint.
Pull it up. Because we
Okay.
and we said and we all know the village concept is all but I won't say eradicated because to say it is eradicated,
It's slim. It's
it's
slim,
yeah,
bro.
Cause now you got people that don't want nobody to say nothing to their kids.
not at all. Not at
Neighbors
all.
don't know neighbors. They don't know each other. Well, I don't trust them. I
Don't
don't
you
know
tell
them.
me
They
how to
don't speak
discipline
to
my
each
kid.
other. Mm-mm.
Don't tell me I discipline your kid, but I saw your son, but I saw your son slap a little girl.
Right.
Not even just that. I saw your son getting involved in some stuff he didn't need. Matter of fact, I saw your son with another little boy that I know do.
Yeah.
Like all of that.
Yeah.
That's what they used to do. When the older
Yeah.
folks used to see us hanging around certain people,
Listen,
honey, I got snatched up so quick.
snatched up 2 and 3 different times on the way to my grandmother.
Okay.
Okay, without
Honey,
no
no.
problem.
It ain't like that now. Now you can't tell nobody nothing.
You can't tell, the teachers can't even tell a child nothing. Quinn, come on.
Man,
Yeah.
look,
You
Teachers
can't tell
can't
nobody
even say
nothing. The,
nothing.
the families want to show up and fight.
yep.
What
The
we fighting
mamas is
for?
fighting the kids.
Exactly. But if we could talk about back in the days as much as we want, and we could try to implement that stuff, but the real thing, the real talk, the real spill of that is this, is that a lot of parents these that in this day and age, in this these day and age, this generation
Ooh,
ain't gonna be receptive to that.
it's the
They
mindset.
It
already
ain't gonna
not
be receptive to
receptive.
that. And the one thing I said this like a while back in the clubhouse room before I started my job. Me growing up in the night, me how I was raised in the 1970s, in the 1970s, 1980s, and then like up to 1990 when I graduated, it's different from 2000 from these kids that grew up in the 90s and the 2000s, and
Yes.
they look at stuff way different. The way
Way different.
and I am like an old school person.
Me too.
Don't let
Honey,
these gray hairs fool you. I'm an old school person. It's if I see you raw, if I see a kid, a guy, a young man, or a kid disrespecting a woman, I will call that brother out on it, and
Yeah,
and they'll be like, well, mind your business, old man. I ain't gonna mind my business when you are disrespecting a woman.
right.
I'm not gonna mind my business when you as a young girl, you as a young lady should carry yourself in a better way or a better light. Not gonna mind my business when I see you out here fucking up, and I can live here. Let me pull you up under my wing. Let me show you a different. Let me show you a better way.
they don't want that
If
now.
they would allow you to do
Now
that,
they
brother,
don't want that
they'll
now.
take you out for saying
You say
something
you
these
say
days.
something you say something to a young man that is disrespecting an old woman. He want to pull out a gun.
Sure will.
They don't want that now.
That
Now you can't, like I
mindset.
said, you can't say nothing to nobody kids now because you got the parents even being stupid.
The
You
mindset
know what I'm
is
saying? It's
off.
the whole. But I realize that now that the reason why a lot of these parents don't want you to say nothing to their kids because they're afraid of what their kids gonna say to you.
Okay.
They're afraid of what's gonna come out.
Okay.
Yep.
Once a child get to know an adult that they feel like they can talk to,
They
that
gonna
child will
talk.
talk.
They
Yep.
gonna talk.
They're gonna talk. And
Don't
they're
treat
gonna
your
Yes.
talk
child
about what's
like
happening
that.
at home.
Right.
Yes.
You see what I'm
That's true,
saying?
Coco. That's
And
true.
so nowadays, these parents don't want you saying that. They don't want you befriending their kid.
Man,
They don't want their kid telling you what's really going on at home.
That's right.
you know what?
That is so
I gotta
true.
say this, y'all. So this brings me back to an experience that I had uh, a while back when I was in Florida. When I first got there, I was coaching baseball, uh, like coaching like 15, 16 year olds, you know, and one of the young boys, one of the young men was, I noticed that I noticed that he had his head held his head down. He would go through the drills that we would do, but he would go right back in the dugout, hold his head down, really not interact with everybody in the team and stuff like that. And then, when we were teaching him, his voice would be really low, like yes sir, no sir, um, okay, things of that nature. So when practice was over, I think it was one practice it was over. I saw him sitting in the dugout, and his head was still down. So I sat next to him. I said, "Hey, what's going on, man? Are you okay? Is there something going on that someone needs to know about? And things of that nature." Come to find out that this kid's mother was out there doing all kinds of things, and she was doing things, she was doing some strange stuff for some change. Let's just put it like that, or
Mm-hmm.
AKA prostitution. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
And he was bullied. He was bullied at school for that. because everybody knew his mom as a neighborhood strawberry and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just from talking to him, I could tell that it bothered him and he was angry about it. And he, as much as he tried to talk his mom into not wanting to live that life, she didn't listen. She kept doing it. It affected him in a way that where he felt like he failed his mother as her son.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I had to talk. I had to speak positive words to him, brother. Young man, you did not fail your mom. You are a smart, you are a smart, handsome, and cool young man. I need you to put that in your head. I need you to realize that. I said, I know that you come on this field to get rid of all that anger and all that angst and dissipate all those negative emotions. And I get that. I get that. I said, but I told him but I told him, and I'm getting emotional when I talk about it because it's the same thing. It's the same thing that was told to me as a as a young kid. As a young man, I wasn't going through any type of problems and stuff like that. I just had confidence issues. But the one thing I told him, I said, when you come on this field, all those emotions and everything, all that bullying, all that emotions that you feel that you have, leave
Take
it
it out
here.
on the
Leave it on
game,
the field.
bro.
Leave it on the field.
Yeah.
Leave it directly on the field because when you leave it on the field, there's no you can't take it home. You can't take it home with you. Leave all that on the field.
But see, he didn't know how to process that the game could have been an outlet.
It was that I think after we had that talk, it was. I saw we saw a tenfold improvement in his play, but also there was a marked improvement in his demeanor, you know, for and for reasons I won't say for reasons I know the reason. He was taken out of the home because of his mother, and he was put in a better situation. Actually he was they put him in they put him with his father. They put him with they found his father and put him with his father. His father had no idea of what was going on, and I think his father showed up to one of the games, and his son pointed me out to him and told him and he the one thing he did, he walked over, he shook my hand, and he told me thank you for talking to my son. He said I'm forever grateful for what you did for him. And I said, brother, it's not a problem. It's you if that was my son and you had the opportunity to talk to him, you would have did the same for me. You would have
Right.
did the same for my son. You know, it's I
But
find it crazy
you'd be
how
surprised. I know other people that have had that same similar situation,
it,
but they looked at it at in a different light. So everybody perceives everything differently.
of course,
Two people would deal with something the same way. And
of course,
I have a friend that I went to school with. His mama did that too, but he looked at it like, yo, if mama one job ain't taking care of everything, mama gonna do what mama got to do to make sure we good.
yeah,
Mhm.
And so he never judged his mama about it. And anybody that did had to see him. You know what I'm saying? And so
yeah,
like his way of looking at it was different because he knew that his mama had a regular job. But if that didn't work and his daddy and the daddy weren't around, mama did what she had to do.
that's true.
And
That's
you know what I'm saying? And so, and I've never judged nobody that did that because you never know what their reasoning is
exactly
Right.
behind doing whatever they do. And so you
Amen.
don't
right,
judge
right,
nobody because you never know.
That's
You know
exactly,
what
right.
I'm saying? And so even with that, I mean, it still goes back twofold. Like, the Bible tells us don't judge unless you want to be judged yourself.
Yes.
exactly,
You know what I'm saying? And so you can't judge somebody by something based off of what your so-called standards are.
Right.
exactly,
Because you say that you would never do it. Never say never.
exactly.
Right.
It's
Because
like
push came to shove. You didn't have no way of getting something that you needed. You don't know what you would do to
exactly.
go make something happen.
That's
You know
Desperate
right.
what I'm
times call for
saying?
desperate actions.
Right. And so you never say never. At the end of the day, I don't judge nobody. You
That's
know what
right.
I'm
I
saying?
agree
If
with
that's
both
what
of
you had to do, that's what you had to do. But it made ends meet. Okay,
Man, I'm
You know, all
slowly.
I all I used to tell people is like, look, I just pray that God keep you while you doing it.
Mhm.
You know
I
what
am
I'm saying?
slowly but surely getting to that point to not to be not to be so judgmental, because
Right.
I'm like, golly, and I see they doing wrong, but I can be like, and I want to say something, and all of a sudden I get this little tap on the shoulder, like you better not say a word.
Ain't no need.
You ain't got the right to say nothing. Don't say a word. Okay,
It ain't no need. In
we're
life,
gonna do
people
it that
know
other
what
way.
they do. People know what they do. We don't have to tell them about what they already know they're doing.
Yep,
It's just that you just got some people that just don't feel like, okay, what you doing, you feel like it's cool to do, so continue to do it. You
yep,
you you have to walk out your own soul salvation. I ain't got nothing to do with it.
exactly,
That's if you got salvation. If you don't, that's still your business.
exactly,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
It's not my life, and I can't live your life for you.
That's it. And I ain't going. I don't want to. I got my own life to live. I got my own burdens. I gotta take care. I gotta handle.
Right. Everybody have fell on hard times at least once.
Absolutely.
That's
And it's
it.
just about how you dealt with that hard time when you was dealing with it.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Everybody has done something they not so cool with what they did, but they have done something that won't good at
Exactly.
some point in their life. Ain't nobody perfect.
Nope.
And if they say
Nobody.
they are, you're lying. Okay? Everybody have
Absolutely.
done something that they were not proud of at one point in their life.
Yep.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, it's about how did you overcome it? Are you still considered that same individual? Because if you are, then you need to change yourself because you're grown. And let's move on.
Yep.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
you can't stay stuck.
Nope.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like for me at LHG. If LHG was to stay stuck and how she feeling about, her parents or whatever, she'll never move on.
Right.
That's it.
I don't think that she would even be married if she was stuck on it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it make you not want relationship.
Nope. You don't trust
You know what I'm
anybody,
saying?
especially a man.
Yeah,
No.
it makes you not want relationships. And at the
No.
end of the day, you gotta find the right man that if you tell him what happened to you, he don't use that against you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And so
Yep.
you gotta find the right one that'll be like, okay, I get it, I understand. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna force the issue on nothing.
Yep.
That's it.
And
That's
that's
it.
how you know, even with that, not even just the right man, the right friend. Because
Yes.
you can't tell your friends that sometimes. You can't tell
Nope.
Mhm.
your friends that you've been touched in a way you didn't want to be touched. You can't tell your friends that somebody took something from you that was more precious than gold and you can't get it back.
Right.
You
Yep.
can't tell your
Yeah,
friends
because
because all of them won't understand.
Right.
that's it. That's it. And that's ammunition. That's fuel for them to use. And the one thing that I like about what you guys were saying, especially when we're talking about the healing process,
Hmm.
I think a lot of us, I think, and I'm a victim of this too. So I'm not, so I'm the same boat as some people. We, especially when it comes to our healing process, I think we look at ourselves subjectively, but we look at ourselves negatively. So it's a subjective. So I think I don't know the phrase to call it, but it's a negative. We look at ourselves subjectively, but it's in a negative fashion.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, and I'll give an example of that. So like if you like you at LHG, y'all have been through that. Y'all have been through that experience,
Hmm.
and and correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure at some point during your healing process, you guys you looked at yourselves subjectively instead of objectively, and it was a more of a negative. It was a negative viewpoint perspective at the time.
I would say yes. Concerning myself, you're looking at my healing process.
Right.
Critical conversations, aka my healing process. I'm in the middle of it. I mean, for a long time, I wouldn't even pray for my mother. I kept my prayers to myself. Now that's a bad thing. I'm supposed to forgive, but I wouldn't even pray for her. I
Wow.
was just that hurt. So I looked at myself as an angry person. I did. And when my mother got married the third time after my second stepfather, you know, violated me, I hated him because I thought he
Wow.
would do the
The
same
same
thing.
thing.
It took us 6 years to bond.
You
And that
put
man,
something
bless
on
his
him that won't even him.
soul, that man loved me. When I tell you, my bio father will tell you that man took care of his daughter. He
Yeah.
was more of a dad to me in my younger years than my biological dad. And my dad will admit that. But I hated him because I side eyed him because I didn't know what to expect from him. So
You
Wow.
you
growing up,
you
I mean, I
you
feel
put
like
the same label on him that you
I
did the
did.
last man.
I didn't have any other to compare to.
Yeah.
My mom and my dad were divorced when I was 3, so I don't know what life with dad was as a child. I
Mhm.
only knew the nasty stepfather. And then you're gonna
Wow.
be another stepfather? Are you serious? Why we can't just chill and be you and me again? So I gave him hell trying to get close to me. Riding the car with you by ourselves? Hell no. But 30 years later, when he died, I looked at him and said, dude, you was my daddy.
Right.
And I wish I told you that more. But sitting up here when he passed at his home, took a nap and left here, I'm like, that's my dad. It's my dad. I wish we had bonded sooner, but I had my wall up. So to answer your question or to for that comment, Fred, I have blamed myself for a lot of anger that I felt. I have blamed myself for finding myself at 14 in the bed of a 40-year-old. I have blamed myself for allowing this organist to groom me into thinking he helping me be a woman. I have blamed myself. I blame myself because my body liked what that man was doing. Why does
Wow.
this feel good when I know it ain't right? I blame me. But the body don't know what's right and wrong. The body know
That's
it's being
hormone.
judged. That's
Yeah,
the
that's
mind.
hormone.
But the body is going to respond biologically to stimulation.
Yep.
But I felt like I am nasty.
Wow.
I am horrible. I felt that, brother. I did. But I have to finally say thank you, Lord, because I had to get the therapy and the help I needed to stop being angry at me and learn to forgive. I'm still in that process. I'm still in that process to say I forgive. I can say it, but I'm not sure if I really feel it 100%. But she ain't gonna make me miss Jesus. I'm gonna have to get it together real soon. But I'm not gonna miss the gate for that. I'm
Right.
not. I can't.
Right.
I need
Right.
God to forgive me. So I'm
Right.
gonna have to muster up some forgiveness some kind of way. I'm almost there though. It's just when I see her name somewhere or talk about her, it brings all that back up.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I feel sorry for her.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. But see,
It
you
does.
know that
It does.
that's where the part comes where you say, God, any malice or any contriteness or any um just any hurtfulness or hatredness that I feel when it comes to this individual, I need you to remove it.
Yes.
Because regardless, you know what I'm saying, even though they are our parents create an automatic soul tie with us when we come out.
Woo, that's the
They
And
truth.
do.
so and
That's
so
the
you
truth,
have to
Coco.
you have to understand that even with that, you have to break the old soul tie between you
Okay.
and her before you can start a new one. So you got to get rid of that hurtful stage. You know, I didn't have I didn't have like the negative part. I just got pissed off. Like when it happened to me, it just sparked this anger thing in me.
Mhm.
I just became angry. Um because the first time it happened to me, it was done by a family member. The second
Right.
time it happened to me, this person was also a family member, but it was a female. And it made me just dislike both sexes. I ain't like nobody. Period. Like I don't want to be around you or you. Just leave me be. Like for real. And so like when it came down to like relationships, Nope.
Didn't want to be
I was
bothered.
not. I wasn't a fan. You see
Okay.
what I'm saying? And then, um, so for me, you know what I'm saying? It took me being. I had to go to a rape crisis center and sit down, and I had to just feel everything that I felt. If it was not for my rape crisis therapist lady, my counselor, that lady right there, yo, I love her to life. You know what I'm saying? She was it. Um,
So
and my grandfather took me to her. Because he was like, this is something that I can't heal. You know what I'm saying? And I know he knew what was his lane and he knew what wasn't. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And he was
that's
like,
the
this is
bomb.
something that I can't do, but I'll be there though. You know, I'm gonna be there when the chips fall. I'm gonna be right there. And
Hmm.
he was. And people talked about my grandfather like he was a dirty dog. You know
Wow.
what I'm saying? Because he took me in. He was the one taking care of me. I
Mhm.
can I could hear the conversations in the church talking about, oh, he a filthy old man because he's sleeping with his granddaughter. And it was nothing like that.
It
But
wasn't the case.
honey, you can trust and believe I lit their souls up right in the
I'm
church.
sure you did.
Christian man.
And I would
I'm
just sit
sure
there.
you
You
did.
got the audacity to judge somebody, but what you need to understand is your husband out here geeking and gawking too.
Come on here. That
Exactly.
part.
My grandfather never touched me in that type of way, ever. And when I say it pissed me off so bad, honey, them old women, if I could just throw a shoe,
She said
that's
a
what it
shoe.
was. I didn't like them. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they was about. When people start something, they keep it going.
She
And
said a
so,
shoe.
like, it had got around like the whole community. And honey, I was cussing people out left and right. And so, no, they was like, "Oh, you not nice." I was like, "No, nigga, you not nice because
Exactly.
you talking about something that you don't know." But what
Exactly.
y'all won't do is you won't say it in front of me though. I gotta hear it. So when I hear it, I come and I fix it.
Yep. You speaking about
If
something
you
you have
want
no
to be
knowledge of.
bold with it and you want to open your face, do it in front of me. That's what I need you to
Exactly.
do. And
Do it
nobody
all in court.
nobody would do that. And so it was just like, okay, that right there should let you know something. If you're not bold enough to say it with me present, shut up.
Wow.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so like all of that, I just had to put it to bed.
Mhm.
But when I went to the rape counseling center, the rape crisis center, that right there kind of like changed the whole trajectory of my life. That was when I really started learning how to encourage other people.
Yes.
And so that's what made me an encourager. That right there.
There you go.
Because
That's
I
what.
realized that I went through something that even though I went through it, there was other people that had went through stuff that had went through similar to me, but went through worse. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? And I was able to be inside the center encouraging them
Mhm.
and,
See.
and telling them, look, if you don't get over it, you're gonna take this into your adulthood. You can't become no grown woman and you'll never have a family. You'll never have this if you always thinking about this right here. You
Yeah.
gotta learn how to let it go because you gotta go away from it. You
Absolutely.
know, like one girl, I can literally see that it was hurting her so much, it was literally killing her.
Damn.
And I was like, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. And I said, I want you to come with me on Sunday. And I asked her to go to church with me on Sunday, and she went. We went inside the church, and luckily I knew the pastors real good. And I said, we're gonna get there before everybody else. I want you to go to the altar and I want you to leave everything you feel on the altar and don't you dare go back and pick it up. And she left it right there and never picked it up.
Wow.
And I was like, that's what it took. When you say you through and you don't want to be like this no more, you ain't gotta be like that no more.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned support. I want to segue into that. Um, please know if you are dealing with this, know someone that has dealt with incest. There are support groups that
Yeah.
actually get together to help each other heal. You can get a therapist. There is the National Child Abuse Hotline, 1
Mm-hmm.
800 422 4453. I'll put it in the chat. Covenant House 9 line, that's for runaways. So if you are a younger person and you've been running away or you even thinking about running away, don't do so without having someone knowing you out there. Get help before you even think about doing that. At least call, it's called Covenant House 9 line. And you can remember that because it's called 9 line, 1-800-999-9999. And there are national organizations that can link you up to someone locally to get you help. If you know you've been a victim of incest, you should get out. You should
Yeah.
find a way to tell and get out of that situation. That is not normal. That is not God's intent for parents. You are not created to be your parents' sexual slave. That is a demonic spirit, and you need to leave that safely. I am so glad that the young lady that you were talking to that day, that they finally decided to tell, because
Yeah.
there was so much manipulation. They probably said, well, I'm gonna bust up my family. That's
Yeah.
not a real family.
Yeah.
You are being pimped out and used as a sexual slave to someone who gave life to you. That's the worst. That's the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
It don't get too much worse than that. So please know that there is help for you to break free of this. It is not your fault. Do not think you did something to deserve it. It is a spirit. It is a disease. And the truth of the matter is the abusers have a problem.
Yeah.
The abusers need help. I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
we don't
You're
want to
not
have
the
too much
problem.
compassion, but at the end of the day, there's a stronghold on them that's so deep
Yeah.
for you to be attracted sexually to any child, less known the one you
You made.
created. That's a level of demonic force that's the pit underneath the pit of hell.
Yeah.
And they need help as well. And what I learned in reading through information about how boys and girls react to incest, I even read in one book, boys are more embarrassed to say a woman raped me because
Mhm.
the stigma is you didn't like it. It's a
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
How
Exactly.
crazy is that?
Yeah.
How
That's crazy.
twisted is that?
Yeah.
Or
That's
a man may be more embarrassed to say a man raped me
Mm-hmm.
in fear of saying now you're feminine.
Yeah. And Quint put that in the. I was gonna bring that up too, but Quint put it in the comment section where she talked about Donnie McClurkin
Yes,
because
yep.
he was raped by his uncle and the uncle's
yes.
son,
Prime example.
and it took him a long time to get over it. And everybody, he said, everybody talked about my feminine ways.
Yes.
Yep.
And still do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he was transparent enough to come out into the public, and we don't do that a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and talk about it, and
Yep.
only to get the backlash of the church.
Yep.
Of course, man.
Of the
And,
church.
Of the
and, that,
church.
and I bet you that's where it came from first. I
And
bet you
probably
that's
even
where it
his
came from first.
peers. It could have even been
That's
some of his
because it came from the
enemies.
church because his uncle was in the church.
See?
Yep. And see, it's funny how when we come forward and we talk about our experiences, especially the traumatic experiences. Like you know, loss and what a sexual abuse like what we're talking about right now. It's funny how when we come forward and we talk about this and we become transparent, is that we're immediately demonized,
Yes.
and then on top of that ostracized, and then on
Yes.
top of that stigmatized by our peers, by sometimes people in our communities,
The people
and
you
then
feel
people
like should help.
then on top of that, people in our church, people in our places of worship.
Yep.
Unfortunately, and I'm probably going to draw a ire from a lot of religious people, but y'all niggas is the worst ones.
And they are. They have molested and raped a whole bunch of people.
And the hypocrisy of it all. Now we say the Lord can deliver you from anything,
Sorry.
but then when I say the Lord delivered me from blank, you talking crap about me?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, you said the Lord could do it. He
Yeah.
did it. Now I can't even tell it without you looking at me a certain kind of way. What kind of hospital is this?
It ain't one. And they condemning you while they in sin.
Doing the same, doing worse.
You guess what I'm saying? They condemn you while they in sin.
Listen.
Yep.
Man.
So I done been there, done that, wrote the book, got the t-shirt. I know pastors that have taken advantage of their positions. Okay.
Wow.
High ranking ones, bishops and apostles too.
Wow.
That have taken advantage of their position in the church. With women and children. And men too.
In the disguise of mentorship. In the disguise of I want to disciple you. Yep. Shame on you.
That part right there.
Shame on you.
Case in point.
I got my hair coming down in here, Lord.
I know a bishop right now. I know a bishop right now that every child he got ain't by the wife. They all by women from the church.
That's horrible.
Ain't none of the kids by his wife.
Boy,
And right now, but he'll stand up right behind that pulpit like he ain't never done that.
Bro, you first of all remove yourself
with all his baby mamas sitting in the front row.
Oh my God.
That's and you know what?
And how are we supposed to effectively witness?
That is out of order.
How are we supposed to preach the gospel and compel people to come to the church?
That part.
You can't.
When the first 6 rows is your baby mamas.
That part.
And you got a whole wife.
Got a whole wife.
Got a whole wife. That's out of order. I mean, I'm not a religious or spiritual person, but even I know that's out of order.
Way out.
When I was with my ex-husband, I had an apostle approach my ex-husband because he wanted to sleep with him.
Oh my gosh.
But what happened was the apostle called the wrong phone. He called my phone.
Oh my Lord.
So when I answer the phone, you hear this heavy breathing. And he talking about, well, good day, sir. He talking about, I like what I saw tonight. That suit looked good on you. He was like, you need to have a little private conversation with me because I would love to take the suit off of you. He was like, oh, you ain't got to worry about it. I'll take care of you so you can continue to take care of your wife. When I said, excuse me, and he heard it was me, oh, baby, all that changed. I said, oh, you wait till we get to your church tomorrow. You wait till I show up.
OMG.
Walk through the door, baby, and I record my phone calls. Walk through the door. I had somebody hand me a mic, and I played the conversation over the mic.
Ooh, I know you did, Coco, because you won't hold no punch.
And his ass.
I know, Coco.
I said, now you sitting in here preaching one thing, but this is what you are.
Calling me and
I said, you're trapped in the closet, and you don't want to tell folks that you don't want to come out. I said, just like the woman you engaged to, you don't even really want her. You want him. You want the drummer boy. I said, dude, don't play with me.
A predator.
Yeah. And thought that he was good. I said, no, baby, I'm finna bust your whole bubble.
Boy, I'm glad you aired him out, boy. I mean, aired him out like they're like a whole load of dirty laundry.
I couldn't, Fred. I couldn't. There's certain things that I couldn't. I couldn't.
Wow.
When you call my whole phone, and that's what you doing.
Listen,
you even got a whole proposition.
An indecent proposal.
No.
And I'm sure he didn't did that before.
Yeah.
Phone call. More than likely.
And and whoever he propositioned before might have took it.
My God.
Man, look. And see, like I said, when we talk about stuff like this, when we deal with the stuff that we're talking about tonight, y'all, I mean,
it's a serious, y'all.
And then we talk about like we ain't even touched on the healing process yet.
No, God, that's gonna be show number 2.
We ain't even touched on the healing process, y'all. And even that is a process.
A whole process in itself.
Look. And see, when we talk about this stuff like this, and we talk about how the people that are supposed to be our protectors.
Yep, that part.
The people that are supposed to be we look up to, that we as kids look at them, and they're supposed to be larger than life. These are our parents.
Yes.
And then on top of and these people are larger than life figures to us. And when and there's a great degree of trust when it comes to a parent-child relationship. And when that trust is broken by acts like this,
Mm-hmm.
like what we've been talking about for the last 2 hours, it does something to that child.
Oh, yes, it does. I'm a
Yeah.
living witness.
It does something to that child. It does something to that child in a way to where that child is damaged.
It's too many scenarios.
Oh yeah,
Way
yeah,
too
So
many scenarios. Look at what's happening with all these Catholic priests.
ooh,
big time.
All them being called out now. And they all admitting to what they did, but you didn't want to admit to it back then.
Exactly,
Look at that. Look at what happened to Bishop Eddie Long.
exactly.
If y'all know the story. Look at what happened with Bishop Eddie Long. That
Boy,
man
that,
went from being one of the most
top of the
prominent
world, honey.
bishops in Atlanta
Top of the world.
to nothing in a few months and then dead.
that
Quickly.
and
Quickly.
for a
Okay?
lot of people,
Quickly.
that should be a cautionary tale. That should be a cautionary tale.
Quickly.
If you don't believe that's a cautionary tale, then there's nothing else that we could tell you. Because honestly speaking, again, when a child's trust is destroyed, it's a long road for a parent to regain a child's trust, especially through something as traumatic as sexual abuse. It's
It's
hard.
bad.
It's a hard road back.
And you walk around here
It's so
saying,
prevalent.
touch not my anointed, touch not
Right.
these kids, boo.
That's
Touch
it.
not these kids.
Boy,
That's
Ain't,
it.
boy,
And
ain't
then
talking about you.
people
the,
don't
Touch not the
understand.
children.
People
a
don't
whole bar
understand
right there.
that God uphold the babies. And
Right.
so when you touch the babies, you got a whole problem.
Oh, a whole
Big
problem.
time.
You know what I'm saying? And it's so prevalent. I know pastors that have committed suicide because they didn't want stuff to come out.
But it came out
Okay.
anyway, I bet.
Instead of just
The,
facing it and
right,
dealing
but
with
instead
it.
of facing it, they killed themselves.
Just
You
deal
know,
with it.
people
They,
in the world think that they killed themselves behind something else, but no, it was something else that was really
Wow.
going on, and you killed yourself because you didn't want people to know what you were doing.
Wow.
oh, I quit. Don't worry. Do not worry. Also, all of it will be exposed.
Wow.
Oh, God is always in the exposing business.
Yep. Don't
But
worry about it. All
look
of it
at
will
what's
be exposed.
happening. Look at what's happening in the world of Christendom right now. It's so many
A lot
pastors
of
being
exposure.
exposed. Okay, it's so
Yep.
many people in high-ranking positions being exposed,
Entire organizations,
being
entire
exposed.
Christian organizations being exposed.
So
And
Yep.
no,
rightfully so. Shame on you.
That's it. Shame on y'all.
Shame on you.
Shame
y'all
on
knew.
y'all.
Y'all let's
Heathen.
take the situation with R. Kelly for example. All of those people that worked with him knew what he was doing.
Shame on them.
They
And we're
helped him.
complicit.
They brought the young girls to him.
And they just as bad.
Complicit.
So
Just
they knew. They knew.
Co-
And then you got the
Complicit.
parents. You so the parents, God bless, bless their poor little hearts, Jesus, because the parents signed these papers
just as bad.
knowing that he paying you for your child.
That's what you just sold your child. You just sold
Trafficking.
your child.
Sex
Come on here.
trafficking. Big time.
And you just sold your kid. Like, why?
Complicit as hell.
Horrible.
And
You
no,
have no idea.
nobody understood that was done to Aaliyah.
Wow.
Yep.
When everybody claimed that he married her, she was 14.
Jesus.
So you tell me what state that he is liable and legal to marry her in? None, especially not the state of New York.
No, I thought that was in Illinois.
No,
Oh,
Wow.
the marriage license came from New York,
oh,
and it was fake as all could get out.
oh.
My Lord.
I, I thought it was Illinois.
But y'all think about how did he get access to her? Her parents had to sign for it.
Yep.
Yep.
They had to agree to it. They had to be complicit to it.
They don't talk about that part over
They
here.
don't, they don't talk about that
Over
part.
here in Michigan.
Yeah, they don't talk about that.
They don't
Oh
He
talk about
got
hell,
that
we,
access
part.
to her because the parents signed for it.
oh hell, we are, but we are.
Y'all, just think about that. People that got high ranking spots. Look at all of these people. A total of 284 FBI agents and law enforcement people have been arrested because they the ones behind the sex trafficking.
Ooh-wee.
You try to figure out why you never get your kids back. It's because the law enforcement is behind it. That's why you never saw your kids again because they knew how to keep it under wraps.
Wow.
Not cool.
It's the law enforcement that was doing it. 280 something cops and FBI agents.
That's a lot.
Again, we back to what Fred said. The people that's supposed to protect us, right? Even the people in law enforcement, they kidnapping your kids right off the street and selling them to somebody else.
That's it.
Dear Lord.
But yet, but at the,
Yeah, no,
but
you gotta
yet.
get ready for your other show, bro.
Okay, so yeah, so let's do this, y'all. So man, we actually unpacked a lot, but also at
A
the same
lot.
time,
And
but
I ain't go through half my notes.
Look,
but
right?
but this gonna be a continuation of this because look, what this is something that has to be talked about. It's a difficult subject to talk about, but the two ladies that are right here with me are comfortable enough and confident enough to talk about it. And first and foremost, I commend them on even having the courage to come
Thank
out
you, brother.
to do this show tonight because it takes a lot of courage to do something like this, you know. And I commend them wholeheartedly. I commend y'all for just being courageous because there are a lot of people that need to hear this message tonight. They need to hear this show tonight.
Yes,
And
I
trust me,
agree.
and trust and believe me, y'all. We ain't done with this subject.
No,
We're not.
No, we're
Not
not.
by not by
there's
a
a
long
part
shot.
two.
We're not.
It's
Part
definitely a
two,
part two
maybe even
coming.
a three. We don't know.
Look, and I'm gonna
Woo.
tell you so. If you guys didn't see the comments, look at the comments. There are a couple of resources that are available here. One of those resources is the National Child Abuse Hotline. That is a toll free number. It is 1 800 422 4452. So if you suspect you suspect a child of being abused, no matter what the type of abuse it is, call that number. I do believe that you can call you. I do believe you can call it anonymously. Um, and if they have a website, check that out too. I believe check that out too. The other website, the other phone number that I want to let you guys know about is the Covenant House 9 line for runaways. That is also a toll free number. So it's 800 999 9999. Um, that's another resource for us for you guys to use. Um, if there's a runaway child on the street, call that number. They should be able to direct you to resources for that child. The most important resource besides the two numbers that I gave y'all is is family. If you see something, say something.
Yes.
Do not be complicit. It doesn't look. I said this earlier. I'm gonna say it again. The concept of us, the old adage of what goes on in the hole stays in the hole has to go because that old adage is damaging a lot of people.
Yes, it is.
Way too many people are being damaged by that adage. And I don't and look, I get it. I get it. You want to protect you. There's some form of there's some you guys feel a form of obligation to protect an abuser. No, you don't.
No.
Look, to protect an abuser means number one means that you're complicit, and number two, it means that you also agree with the behavior.
Right.
That's right.
You can't be in agreement with your abuser.
And
No.
no, hell no. So besides
Absolutely not.
the numbers that the resource that we just gave out, the most important resource is the people in the family. If you see something, say something. Don't be silent. Look, consequences be damned. It don't look if they throw you if they excommunicate you from your family just because you said because you stood up for the right thing, it's so
Bye.
it's
Listen,
so what
we all got that one that we know we can go to.
exactly. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm excuse my French. If someone if your family excommunicates you for what for you standing up for what is right, so fucking be it. It doesn't matter. You stood up for the right thing and you brought that
Yes.
person to justice, or you brought that person to accountability. It's again, I can't thank Coco and LAG enough for being courageous enough to do this and talk
Thank you
about
for hanging out with us, brother.
talking about this at length, talking about this at length. Because I mean, even with me, because I have not been, I haven't, I've had I've been fortunate enough to not be subjected to that. However, to hear Coco's story, to hear LSG's story, and then I was present in that Q&A session when that young lady mentioned said that,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and I had a whole bunch of choice words. I was appalled. I was appalled. I was appalled, embarrassed as a man, and angry.
They had the thought,
Just a simple thought of me. Look. I have a daughter
and you got a granddaughter.
and a granddaughter. The simple thought, the act of just the thought of somebody inappropriately touching my daughter.
My God.
And then the funny part about it is somebody did inappropriately touch my granddaughter. The thought of someone inappropriately touching my daughter, and now the thought of me having to help this 7-year old deal with the fact that someone inappropriately touching her makes my main, and then listening to
I'm telling you,
him now.
somebody was looking forward to a three hots in the cot moment.
Yeah,
Lord
and
have
then so
mercy.
then on top of that, somebody hearing something during our Q&A, hearing a woman pleading for help on our Q&A because she was going through that, and then having two sisters that I know and that I love, that I know and I love and I care about, which is LSG and Coco going through it, and they went through that. That makes my damn blood boil
Hmm.
because no child, male or female, should ever have to go through that. No child, male or female, should ever have to not be protected by their parents.
Amen.
And like I said, ladies, do not leave a male with your daughter.
Please be careful.
He is not the babysitter.
Please be careful
I'm
who you
sorry.
give access to.
That just does not sit well. I understand that he your boo thing. Tell your boo thing he got to go home, or you take your baby somewhere else until you get off.
Please, please, please,
Don't
No,
leave your child with your boo thing at home. No.
please.
look,
No. And I'm
I
gonna
just
say this: you think that a Whopper and a fry and a drink is a good combo meal? Get you some therapy, some Jesus.
Come on now.
Some therapy, some and Biggie size that thing.
Come on
Biggie,
here.
Biggie size it. Don't you
there
let
you go.
anyone convince you that you shouldn't get help. We church people, we don't need no therapy. Yes, we do. We the
Yes,
one
There
we
we
you
need
go.
the
do.
most.
There you
We
go.
need it the most. Get you
There
some
you go.
help. The clinical and the spiritual need to walk together for
That's
your
it.
total healing.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
Trust me,
indeed.
I got a therapist, counselor, psychiatrist, everything.
That's
A
it.
whole team for my health. I'm worth it.
Yep.
Very much so. And you have
I'm
to
worth
believe
it.
that you're worth it. But yeah,
Don't you be late, bro.
but yeah, we look. But I'm about to bug out of here. I mean, I'm gonna leave it back. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna let LSG and Commit Spit to close us out and get us up out of here. Um, I will see you guys later. I'll see you guys later on. I'll see you guys in about 8 minutes. Oh, let me put the call in number in here for you guys, for everybody. If you guys want to come on, if you guys want to come on, let me put this call in number here for you guys. So the call in number for tonight on WBN is going to be is 516 um, 453 9133. If you guys press one to join the conversation, um, and then they'll pull their the person will pull you on as a caller, and we'll have a conversation, y'all. So I'm gonna get up out of here.
Proud of
LSG
you, bro.
Coco,
Go get them.
LSG Coco. It's been mad real as always, man. Super job, bam, home run out the park.
Hammer
Uh,
don't hurt them.
uh,
Go do your thing.
yes,
Go do
ma'am.
your thing, man.
I ain't gonna hurt him too bad. But y'all two ladies, y'all again, thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all.
We
Y'all
love you.
y'all are courageous women, and if I have my respect level for you guys has grown like times 100.
Thank you,
But
bro.
I love you. I love y'all to life. There ain't nothing y'all can do about that. And I'm gonna
Go
see
have
y'all.
you a good
I'm gonna
show.
see y'all in the next one.
Yeah, go have a good show.
Yes, ma'am.
So y'all, the only announcements we got for tonight is Monday night. I do believe that we are having What About Your Friend? No, that's following the last Monday, right? I
Last
want to
month,
make sure I got the dates
26th.
right.
No,
Yeah, I want to
wait, hold on. What's the date? 27th.
Okay. So on the
February
27th,
27th.
that is What About Your Friends Part 4.
Yes.
Next week, Monday, I don't know if we're gonna have a guest or not, but y'all gonna see us facing the place as usual. It'll be My Life Has Destiny. I don't know what we talk about. We're gonna talk about something.
Just be in the room.
Just be in the room. That's it. And then Thursday night, if we don't end up having a promptu show for something else, it'll be Q&A. All right. But I do believe, when are we having the versus battle?
That's a good question.
You didn't write it down.
Hold on. Let me see if I put it in my let
Because
me see
Clint,
if
you
I
mentioned it,
first
Clint. Do you remember the date? 26.
Sunday,
The 26th.
26th
Yep.
at 7 p.m.
At 7.
Okay, I do have it in my I typed in verses. Thank the Lord it came up.
So we got the second part to the versus battle, because I know y'all been waiting. That is going to be on the 26th at 7. We will post the info so that y'all can come. It's going to be on Zoom though. So you got to click on the Zoom link and come in the Zoom room so that we can see y'all face on the screen. We're going to have fun. We playing music. That's why it's called the versus battle. And y'all can be judges along with Quint, since she has copped out again. And yes, I am. I'm calling her out tonight. So along with
bring them out.
since she is not
Bring them out.
gonna participate again, since she's gonna be the judge once again. So y'all can
Get your
come and
roll
meet
on. Everybody get your
in
roll on.
the Zoom. So we're gonna have fun though. We're gonna have fun. We had fun last time.
We had so much fun.
So we're gonna have fun though. So, but I'm excited about what we're doing. I can't even tell you what March holds, because we ain't got there yet.
Woo.
So all you gotta do is wait and stick around and find out. All right.
Stick around.
LSG, you got some announcements for your shows?
I do. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the All Well-Being Services will be in the house. It's a mental health organization, and that's the precursor leading up to Sunday's mental health forum. I'll put the flyer in the comments, because we're going to do it every month, every week. This month we're having a different speaker at Pastor Maurice Edwards Church. Last week was Coach Felicia Donald Coleman and Elder Sandra Cobb. They lit it up. So this Sunday is Pastor Pamela Morgan. I'll put the flyers in the comments. But tomorrow night, mental health forum, and it's gonna be about this pretty much all month. Tuesday, Girl Chat Weekly, baby.
Girl Chat was good, y'all. Y'all don't know what y'all be missing.
At 8:00, the theme is "It's getting hot in here, but I'll keep on my clothes." Menopause, baby. Menopause. We talking about when the men pause, boo.
Oh
I
gosh.
get hot flashes, cold flashes, flashlight.
I ain't there yet, y'all, so I don't know nothing about it. Bless him.
So we're gonna be talking about that. So do not miss Girl Chat. We have it's 1 hour of straight up girl chat about everything, girls. And last week was great about
Yes, it was.
bracing our bodies, what to eat. I'm telling you, it was
Yes, it
amazing.
was. It was really
So don't
good.
miss that. Y'all got to make sure y'all in the house. Some good stuff
And
coming
then,
down the pipeline.
well, we'll talk about that on the show Monday night, Quinn, because you ain't even told me who the guest was. So yeah, that's what we got going on right now.
And
All right,
please don't
so
forget to give to the fundraiser, y'all. We need you. Please. We
please
cannot
do.
stress it enough. Please share the link. If you are not able to give yourself, just share it. If you can give, thank you. Those who have given, thank you. Thank you. We need to reach this goal. Please help us. Please,
Thank
it's
you
in the
guys.
chat,
For the ones
and
that
I'll post
already
it again.
have, I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. We just need to really push as far as we can get this um out there. So please help us. All right. All right, that's it for me.
All right, y'all. So we'll see y'all. Well, I'll see y'all again on Monday night, but y'all know I like to pop in on my sister up here. So but check her out tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Don't miss it. I
Yes.
promise you don't want to miss it. So we love y'all. Y'all know the motto. I love y'all to life, love you to live. Live every day on purpose and make it count. See y'all later.
Good night.